Wilson. An analytics consultant from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, Dorcas Alexander. And our returning champion, a student from Herndon, Virginia, Siddharth Harihara, whose two-day cash winnings total $28,135.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to There's Always Jeopardy with Pat and Jan.
Hi.
Hi, we had some technical difficulties and we restarted, which I think is really in our favor because we never mentioned Dorcas.
Oh, God. Dorcas.
I know Dorcas is a real name. It's a real woman's name, but what an unfortunate thing for a Jeopardy contestant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I looked it up. I don't know if you looked it up, Pat. It's a Greek, like, biblical name, and it means gazelle. So it should be such a beautiful name.
It doesn't
for such
mean
an
dork.
Exquisite animal. It does not mean dork. It does not mean super smart. It does not mean probably got teased relentlessly in school. It means gazelle.
Just to bring you back, this is There's Always Jeopardy, and Jan and I were talking about how comforting Jeopardy has always been to us in our lives. It's just always been there. Every day it's there. And now Jeopardy is on Netflix. So now that we're all trapped in our house watching Netflix all the time, Jeopardy is there because there's always Jeopardy. As scary as the world gets, there's always Jeopardy.
There's always Jeopardy.
And so the point of the show is that we're going to review the episodes of Jeopardy that are on Netflix, starting from the very first episode of what's known as the Seth Wilson collection, which is a bit of a spoiler alert when you're watching that episode because it's Seth's first appearance, but obviously he's taking it. He's going to take it because this whole collection is him.
Yeah. I think Seth is just the cutest.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter mentioned that he feels like a Bruce McCullough character to them.
Oh, yeah, like a little cuddly grown-up Gavin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
He's very cute. Yeah, there he is. I feel like everybody on this show really tugged at my heartstrings, like this particular grouping of contestants.
It's a
Seth,
great group.
Dorcas, for the name alone, but she seemed like a lovely woman. And Siddharth was his name?
Siddharth,
the returning champ. So
yeah,
cute.
it was a fun episode. We'll talk about the Jeopardy round at first. I have the categories here. It was George Clooney film roles, which is always funny to me because those categories are super easy for me, but often very hard for Jeopardy contestants. That they're like, you can't count on them to really be up to snuff on their pop culture stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Pat, but like sometimes like I'll see like George Clooney, sitcoms from the 80s, commercial jingles, and then it'll be like geography, super obscure geography, and they always go for those super obscure ones first. And then Alex will be like, "There's 1 minute left." I'm like, "They haven't even touched sitcoms."
I know, these people all right there. That's the easy money.
Right there, eat low-hanging fruit.
So George Clooney film roles: Body Language, College Firsts, Office Supplying, Young Adult Novels, and Mayor Garcetti's Los Angeles, where they had Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, read different clues about Los Angeles. And as we were saying before, Alex makes a joke. He's afraid that Garcetti's going to make a move for his job, but I'm not scared of that.
All too prescient. No, I'm not scared of it either.
Fine. I think he's fine.
He's fine. He looks great.
He's not ready to step in as host.
No.
Sorry. Just be a mayor. I
think Alex is looking good.
And it was a pretty good, it looks off the top like Seth's just going to rip it.
Yes, because he had a real streak. Like, I don't think anybody else buzzed in for 2 whole categories.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. You could tell he was good right off the bat.
Yeah, I think he came in that little cardigan as kind of a bit of a fake out, underneath. Like, he's cardigan on the outside, like Ed Hardy fake sleeve tats on the inside.
Yeah, this guy's
Yeah.
tough, especially for this world. He's tough. So after the Jeopardy round, we get to know the contestants a little bit,
Yeah.
as you know, and I believe that we have that segment. If we could try that again.
Seth Wilson is a PhD candidate from Chicago. PhD studies in what?
Theater and performance studies.
All right. Now, some of your friends like to make fun of you because they say you have a unique laugh.
Yes.
What is it?
They call it, when I get really tickled, I have a very loud, unusual laugh, I guess, and they call it breaking the pig. My friend Jeff one night in college, after a few cocktails, said I sounded like a broken pig when I'm really laughing. And the nickname sort of stuck. And so now there's a competition whenever we all get together to see who can break the pig first.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dorcas Alexander is from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Now, you must have felt really special once because I heard that you were late for a flight and you were told, don't worry, we're going to hold the plane for you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. So I had stayed up at night, all night writing my last college final. And a friend drove me to the airport. And I ran into the terminal and said, oh my gosh, did I miss my plane? And they said, no, we're waiting for you. And I said, what? And they took me out to this little 2-seater plane. I sat next to the pilot, and then he got out and spun the prop to start the plane.
Oh, boy. All right. Siddharth Hariharan from Herndon, Virginia is our champion. He is a student also. But he had an interesting kind of coffee in Indonesia, and there was a scene in the movie The Bucket List about an interesting kind of coffee. Was it the same one?
One and the same, yep. Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman had this coffee, and the interesting thing about it is that it was processed through the digestive system of the luwak, or civet, in North America. It was pretty good. Can't complain.
I'm sure it was. It's very expensive also. Seth, go ahead and make a selection for us.
Body language for 200.
This is so classic Jeopardy interview. Like I would say if somebody were to say, aliens have landed, describe the Jeopardy interview, I would be like, this is textbook.
Oh, I love everything that happens here. For starters, like I said to you before, this is Seth's first episode. This is his first episode. The first story that he goes to is that all of his friends talk about how he laughs like a broken pig. What? This is your shot at sounding interesting to people? This is your shot.
And I love the shout out to Jeff. He's like, my friend Jeff. Jeff's out there being like, yeah.
Every one of these stories is boring. The second one, Dorcas. Dorcas could be an exciting story, but she's leaving out so much information. Why is it a 2-seater plane?
Where did you go to school?
Where are you going?
Why were you so late? Here's my favorite, because this is like the most subtle Alex Byrne. You have to be like really in tune to catch it. But he goes, Dorcas, I hear you felt very special once.
Yeah.
You got one shot, kid, and it's because you almost missed a plane. So
yeah, you felt very special once. And with Siddharth's story, I feel like Alex craps on it right away because he's trying to tell this thing that is like the most interesting thing he's ever done. And he's like, oh yeah, that was on the bucket list, right? Well, we already know about that.
Also, like, oh man, what a movie to have your most interesting moment compared to The Bucket List.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List. Two of probably America's greatest actors in probably what is the crappiest film they've ever made. But you go ahead, you have a story. Go ahead. He's like, I drank a cup of coffee once that a bat pooped out.
Yeah, he just had a very expensive cup of coffee. That's what he has to say about himself.
So to recap, the most interesting thing that have happened to these people, friends make fun of you constantly, almost missed a flight, drank a cup of coffee.
Excellent.
I could have anything more interesting to say, to be honest. Like, I don't know what I would do, but just saying.
Just saying. So then we went into Double Jeopardy for the big money.
Yeah.
Where the categories were Yell It Like It Is,
So good.
Science Class,
Yep.
What a Country,
Yes. Go on.
Double T in the Middle, Carrot, and Shtick.
When Alex announced the What a Country category, he did a voice.
Yes.
He did an accent. I don't know what accent it was. I don't know if it was problematic in 2016, if it's problematic now.
Right.
Just
But what do you
putting
think
it
it
out there.
was? Do you think it was like a bit of a, like a little bit Italian? Like, oh, what a country.
Yeah, I think it was like to be honest, my Uncle Tony used to say that all the time.
Used
Like
to say
we'd
what
sit-
a country?
Well, we'd sit down to dinner. Actually, we'd sit down to dinner and go, "Nice country, eh?" So it's close. But this is why Alex has my heart.
Is he from a country where you can't get dinner?
During the war,
Yes. Sure.
yeah. We've been through, the Maltese people have been through their fair share of heartache. But Double Jeopardy is where you turn it around.
Yes.
Like Seth was all rip it and grip it in the first half, but then it came close. I didn't know if he was going to make it in the second half.
Yeah. Well, except that you knew it was the Seth Wilson collection, but
I didn't put it together till just now, like I said.
but ultimately, he pulled it out. Siddharth, who had come in as the champion, went out a loser.
Barely a showing from Siddharth.
My wife just said, "Whoa," because I called Siddharth a loser. Just in the context of the
only,
game.
yeah, within context.
He lost the game, making him a loser.
Of the game.
Of the game. Also, I do find it strange that the most interesting thing about him is that he recreated a scene from the bucket list.
Listen, if that's on your bucket list, that is a meta bucket list. You know what's on my bucket list? Recreate the bucket list. Why make my own? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump out of a plane with Morgan Freeman.
Why not?
Why not? And then our final Jeopardy was authors.
Yes, which I always love.
And how did you do on this one?
I think I got this one. Was this on the road? Was this Kerouac?
Kerouac was the answer, yeah.
Yeah. So here's my thing about Jeopardy, in Final Jeopardy especially, because I'm a bit of a Dorcas. I like that they announce the category, and then like I will go, okay, if it's authors, I'm like, okay, it's going to be Virginia Woolf, it's going to be Oscar Wilde, it's going to be, and I like if it's like American authors, I feel like you can kind of sometimes guess the answer before they even come back from commercial.
Yeah. They really put you in an area.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. So overall, how do you feel about this episode?
I thought it was a great episode. There was a lot of like twists and turns. At first, like I thought it was going to be like, oh man, like this guy's just going to run away with it, you know? But Dorcas really pulled it out, and she pulled out a lot of stops, and I thought she did really well.
She did really well, yeah. But ultimately, a loser.
In the game.
In the game.
In the game, only in the game. And now she has a more interesting story than she almost missed a plane.
Yeah, but will she tell the right parts of it?
She'll just be like, I was in Burbank, California.
And I came away with no more money than when I went there. Okay.
Zero-sum game.
Bless
her, look how cute she is.
Come on.
Who knows? Come on. It's not the important part here.
Enough, Dorcas. Enough. Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good one. What I'm excited about is that there have been a lot of champions that have gone on runs in Jeopardy. So I'm interested to see what is it about Seth Wilson.
Yeah.
That they said, let's start with this guy's run.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see him tomorrow and see what happens.
I think it's all going to unfold like a beautiful flower.
Well, folks, if you're watching this, I hope you tune in tomorrow. I hope you see if it if it is slowly turning into the flower that we think it's going to. But this
The beautiful lotus.
This has been the first episode of There's Always Jeopardy.
And if you want to follow along tomorrow, watch episode 2, because that's the one we'll be discussing in the Seth Wilson round.
Yeah. Well, great to talk to you, Jan.
Nice chatting with you, Pat.
For holding this all down.
Thanks, Dan.
Sorry about the tech issues. It'll be better next time, everybody. If Zoom
And everybody, give it up.
I just have a blanket that's this guy. I am Seth.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll explore that more tomorrow.
All right, everybody, let's end on this. I think would be good.
Yeah.
And they call it breaking the pig.
Breaking the pig. Breaking the pig. Breaking the pig.
I think we just found the name of our podcast.
Breaking the pig.
You've been watching Breaking the Pig, and we'll see you tomorrow.